Okay, ignore the old white dudes behind me. One of them looks kind of like Count Dracula. Ignore them. I want to talk about The Crowded Room. It's on Apple Plus. Um, Stars Tom Holland and Amanda Seyfried. I think that's her name. So it's a story about a kid named Danny who has DID, which I don't know if we have to keep saying, formerly known as multiple personality disorder. I don't know if we've gotten to the place where we just know what DID is, but regardless, formerly known as multiple personality disorder, he commits a crime. As far in the show, nobody really gets hurt outside of him defending himself or defending someone else. No one really gets hurt. But then it becomes like a court case thing, and he's looking for an insanity plea. And it's a whole thing. Should he go to prison or should he go get some help? And I want to talk about the mental health. As far as like the stigma and all, did this help? Was this positive in that light? As far as the show, I thought it was pretty good. Not great. It had issues, but it should have been. I saw Rotten Tomatoes gave it a rating of like, it's in the low 30s, and like it should not have been that low. All right, at least fresh. I'm not saying super high, but at least fresh. I don't know what y'all doing, critics. But Tom Holland was great. Amanda Seyfried, also good. A lot of good actors in the show. Anyway, there was controversy whether it should have even been made, because the true story on it is based off a dude named Billy Milligan, who has DID, and who were the charges? What did he do? He was armed robbery and kidnapping, and he raped at least 3 women. So I see why they didn't do that story. I see why they changed what he did. But that's part of the controversy, right? I mean, Tom Holland, as adorable as he is, I don't think he could have dealt with the backlash from doing a story like that, especially with him being Spider-Man. And that's another thing too. It was risky for him to take the role with him being Spider-Man. I don't think it'll hurt him, but I just think at the time it was risky for him to take it. So I remember a lot of people saying that he shouldn't do it, that it shouldn't be made, whatever. But it was made. All right. For what it is, I think it was a decent job. It's positive-ish mental health community, right? I think you have this person, you're shown that they need some help rather than just throw them away in the prison. And some other mental health stuff going on as well, like some abuse stuff, some PTSD stuff, some grief, all kinds of stuff in the show as well. And at the end of each episode, they have like a link you can go to if you or someone need help, need support. So I think positive-ish overall. But again, the controversy even should have been made, right? Like, I could see like victims or people who know the victims or whatnot hitting them a certain way. Like, it's kind of like if there were a story of Harvey Weinstein and the victims, let's say, or people who know the victims were watching it, and like that story didn't include any rape and made Harvey Weinstein's character, the character based off Harvey Weinstein, seem sympathetic. I can see people having a problem with that. But all that aside, for what it is, for what they did, I thought it was positive-ish. They I don't know, I don't give anything away, but I feel like the story was told well enough. And my issue, though, I still want to see more stories that have that show people who are struggling with mental illness stuff, but they're managing it well, and like the plot doesn't have to center around that. It's too many people where they'll get diagnosed with something, they're going through a mental health crisis, and they feel hopeless. And part of the reason, I don't know how much part of it, but part of the reason, you see all these stories, and they're all negative, right? Like someone, not just DID, but DID as well. DID, like the person who has DID in these stories is always some sort of lunatic, some sort of homicidal maniac, you know what I'm saying? But not just DID, like depression, OCD, bipolar. Like, these stories are never painted in a good way, so somebody could see someone managing it well and just living their life. They still have their struggles, but they're still doing their thing, We need more stories like that, for sure. I mean, again, Crowded Room did its thing. It's okay, positive-ish, but I would love to see more stories where, like, it doesn't even have to be the plot. Like, someone has, let's say, DID or whatever, bipolar, and they're taking the medicine, they're counseling, but that's not the main plot. They're just going on doing something. I think that Disney's Moon Knight, I don't know if they plan on doing another season, but it's another character with DID. They have a chance to do that. If they make another season and he gets to the place where he can manage his DID, and then it's focused on being a superhero. That's what he is, like being a superhero, being a detective, and have DID not necessarily be this damning diagnosis, you know what I'm saying, where you have to go out and kill people, harm people. So like, I hope that after this writer's strike, that there'll be more writers out there willing to write to paint people who are struggling with these types of things in a better light. I hope. But Crowded Room, not bad. Freshness, at least freshness. Come on, 60%.